What if the way you avoid people, the way you sit in silence, the way you stare at your phone pretending to be busy, isn't just introversion, but something far darker? What if your quiet isn't peace at all, but a disguise, a shadow, hiding a truth you haven't even admitted to yourself? See, not all introverts are the same. Some retreat because they're drained. Some retreat because they're haunted. And some retreat because facing the world feels like stepping into a battlefield they never signed up for. There are 4 types of introverts. 4 times shadows. 4 times masks. You probably wear one of them every single day, whether you realize it or not. And here's the terrifying part. You might think you know which one you are. But by the time we reach the end, you might see a stranger staring back at you. So, which shadow follows you? Let's find out. The first kind of introvert is the social introvert. Now, don't let the name fool you. There's nothing social about them. Social introverts are the masters of the polite excuse. You know that person who always says, "Sorry, I can't make it tonight," even though their grand plan is eating cereal in bed and rewatching the same show for the 5th time? That's them. They're not antisocial, they don't hate people, they just prefer solitude like it's oxygen. Crowds feel suffocating, parties feel like torture, and small talk feels like someone slowly drilling into their skull. But here's the dark twist. Social introverts don't just avoid people. They ration them. They treat their energy like it's gold, giving out little coins here and there, then slamming the vault shut. To outsiders, they seem cold, detached, maybe even arrogant. But really, they're just preserving themselves. They've learned the hard way that being around too many people feels like drowning in noise. So instead, they hide in silence. And honestly, they don't even feel guilty about it. But that's only one shadow. The second kind is the thinking introvert. This one lives entirely inside their own head. If you've ever seen someone sitting quietly, staring into space, looking like they're plotting world domination, or silently narrating their own documentary, congratulations, you found one. Thinking introverts don't just think, they overthink, underthink, sideways think. Their mind is a labyrinth, and they spend so much time wandering its halls that reality often feels optional. Here's where it gets eerie. Thinking introverts blur the line between imagination and existence. They replay conversations that never happened, rehearse arguments they'll never have, and fantasize about scenarios so vividly that they forget what's real. Some call it creativity. Some call it escapism. But in truth, it's both a gift and a curse. Because when your mind is that loud, silence doesn't save you. It traps you. And sometimes, this endless daydreaming makes them appear absent, distant, unreachable. You could be sitting right next to a thinking introvert. But in their mind, they're already galaxies away. You might think they're shy. You might think they're sweet. But the truth is, they're too busy talking to ghosts of ideas to even notice you. But let's move deeper. The third shadow is darker still. Meet the anxious introvert. Unlike the social or thinking types, this one doesn't hide because they want to. It's because they feel they have to. Anxious introverts are haunted by the idea of being judged, exposed, or humiliated. They replay past embarrassments like old horror movies on a loop. Remember that one awkward thing they said in 7th grade? Yeah, they remember it too, every single night. Here's the sinister part. Anxious introverts don't just avoid people. They avoid themselves. They craft and excuses, build walls, and vanish from invitations. Not because solitude feels good, but because company feels like a firing squad. Their silence isn't peaceful, it's protection. They calculate every word, every move, terrified of making the wrong one, and that fear eats them alive. Now, you might be tempted to feel sorry for them, but anxious introverts are more cunning than you think. They've mastered invisibility. They know how to blend, how to disappear in plain sight. You'll rarely catch them in the spotlight. And if you do, they're already plotting their escape route. But none of these types are as haunting as the final one. The one most people don't even realize exists. The restrained introvert. At first glance, they seem normal. They don't avoid crowds the way social introverts do. They don't vanish into dream worlds like thinkers. And they don't tremble with anxiety. Instead, restrained introverts move through life in slow motion. They're careful, controlled, calculated, almost like they're holding back a storm you'll never get to see. Here's their darkness. Restrained introverts live in permanent self-edit mode. They don't just think before they speak, they rehearse. They don't just walk into a room, they study it first. They hold themselves like loaded weapons, terrified of firing off the wrong word, the wrong move, the wrong glance. And because of that, they appear composed, calm, even robotic. But under that surface, a restrained introvert is a pressure cooker. They bury impulses, repress emotions, and cage their chaos. For them, being in control isn't strength. It's survival, because the second they lose control, the whole fragile structure might collapse. And trust me, you don't want to be there when it does. Now here's the question that should be gnawing at you. Which one are you? Are you the social shadow, hiding from noise? The thinker, lost in imagination? The anxious ghost, terrified of being seen? Or the restrained one, carefully caging every impulse? Maybe you see yourself in more than one. Maybe you're a mix. Or maybe, just maybe, you've realized that being an introvert isn't as harmless as people think. See, society loves to paint introverts as quiet but sweet, cute little wallflowers. But the truth? Each type carries its own shadow, a hunger for solitude, a mind too loud to silence, a fear too strong to face, a restraint too heavy to let go. And sometimes, the scariest people in the room aren't the loud ones, the talkers, the show-offs. Sometimes it's the silent ones, the ones watching, thinking, waiting. So, which shadow lives in you? And, more importantly, how long before it consumes you completely?